So Simmers, welcome in or welcome back. My name is Ro. I make a lot of Sims videos and I hope you enjoy. In today's video, I would like to share with you all of the mods that I have in my mods folder as of 2024. All of the download links to these mods will actually be linked in the description. I'll show you how to get them in the video as well. And I've split this video up in a couple of categories. First, we're going to start with my gameplay mods, which are all mods that are related directly to gameplay things in the game. The second one is mods for builders. So if you like to build in these games, these are definitely mods that you should get. Then the next category is visual mods, so any mods that will actually make your game look better or look different than the standard, I would say. Then I have one that is called Addon mods, which basically are all kinds of small mods that tweak things that are already in the game, or like add a little bit to things in the game, or like add careers. So it's not necessarily adding something new to the game, as in a whole new feature, but it's more or less like building on top of already existing things in the game. And then the last one is Fix My Game mods. These are all mods that can help you massively if your game is slow, if your game is bugged, if your game is like acting up, behaving annoyingly. Any of these will help you actually fix all of those problems. So I'm just going to walk you through all of the categories and explain all of the mods that I have in my game and what they do. So welcome to the mods page on my website. I have had this overview of all of my mods for I think like a year, and I don't know why I never thought to just use that as the basis for a video and kind of walk you through all of the mods that I have, but I thought, why not just showcase all of the mods that I currently use in my game as of March 2024. I actually keep all of my mods that I used to have in my game in here as well. So if you ever see any of my older gameplay videos, or if there's ever a mod that I made a showcase for but I no longer have in my game, it is actually still linked on here. So you can kind of see all of the mods that I have found throughout my gaming journey in The Sims and which ones I've really liked. They're all on this list, and you can see the status currently in my game versus currently not in my game. I also have a list of a lot of like mod related videos, so any other mod videos on my channel are also directly on this page. Like I said, the categories that I explained at the beginning of the video, you'll also see them at the top of this kind of like table or database. And I'm just gonna walk you through all of the ones that I have, and we're starting off with, like I said, the category for gameplay mods. And we're gonna kick off with Explore. So every single time you have a mod, you can open it, you can see who the creator is, you can have a direct download link. So whenever a mod that I talk about in this video is something that intrigues you, feel free to click on the link. This website is linked in the description box down below, so feel free to check it out. But you can immediately go here and download. Make sure that you check if the creator hasn't updated the mod, or like if there is not a newer version available, because I cannot 100% guarantee that all of these links are updated. I do my best, but you'll see in this video that I have so many mods that sometimes I might miss one. So make sure to just check if it's the latest version. We're going to start with the Explore mod, which is made by Kawaii Stacy, and it is a mod that allows your Sims to, like, you can kind of send them off to go explore on their own. You don't have to come with them. You can like send them to the gym, you can send them to the movies, you can send them to get like a day job, so you can let them like do a one-day job that they'll earn money with. And it's really nice, especially if you're playing with a bigger household, because it allows you to get your Sims out of the house without actively having to play with them. So you can even send them to the gym and they'll return with like buffs and moodlets that fit with the activity that they did, without you having to accompany your Sim to the gym. So this is a huge game changer if you're playing with large families, or if you're playing like with multiple Sims and you want to focus on one. The next one is the parenting skill, which basically means that your teenagers can now get parenting skill. This is super helpful if you are playing with a family and you want your teenagers to actually help out, because it makes sense that if as a teen you take care of your brothers and sisters, you gain a little bit of parenting skill. It also helps if you have teenagers that are actually parents, because then they can take care of their kids and gain the parenting skill. So it is made by Little Miss Sam. You'll probably see that I have a lot of mods from Little Miss Sam, because they just make fantastic mods. The next one is Live Stream for Everyone, similar as the previous one, also made by Little Miss Sam. And basically it takes the live stream feature that comes with the high school years pack and it adds it for everyone, allowing your adult Sims to also have a live streaming career, which I think there are like other live streaming mods out there, but I really like this one because it basically takes something that is already in the game and it just enables it for everyone, meaning that you don't have a whole separate live streaming platform in your game. I do know that Kawaii Stacy also has a really good one. It's called Switch Streaming, I believe. However, I'm not sure if that one still works, because I remember that it broke a while back, and this one just uses something in game, so the chances of it breaking are smaller than using another one. The next one is Subject Homework, and I actually get asked about this all the time on my live streams and also on my Let's Play here on YouTube, is whenever I select homework for my kids, I can select a topic that they have to work on, which will then be connected to a skill. So for instance, if they are reviewing their PE notes, they will gain movement skill. And this is so nice because it just feels so realistic that your kid is like working on a specific topic and gaining a specific skill from it, rather than just doing their homework and actually not gaining anything from it. This mod is also by Little Miss Sam. As you can see over here, there are some mods that are in like both categories, fix my game and gameplay, because I wasn't really sure where to put it. I just kind of put it in both. In this sense, I feel like it kind of fixes the problem with homework in The Sims being kind of boring. So in that sense, it's a fix my game mod, but it also adds additional gameplay. So it's also a gameplay mod. So there might be some duplicates in here, but in the end, it doesn't really matter. The most important thing is that this is a really cool mod and I can highly recommend adding it to your game. The next one, also from Little Miss Sam, is called Sim.Dating, and it is by far one of the best dating apps, especially standalone mods, because I know like mods like Wicked Whims and stuff also have dating apps to it. I know the RPO mod, I believe, from Lumpy New also has dating to it. But the nice thing about the Sim.Dating app is it's super intuitive and really simple to use. It just adds a little Sim.Dating thing to your phone in game, and it allows you to go on blind dates. It allows you to go on like one night stands. It is so nice. It also has a feature that is like enabled hookup calls, which basically allows that your sim will receive calls for someone trying to have a one night stand. And it adds so much chaos to your gameplay, and it's really fun, especially if you're early game and you only have a single sim and you're trying to meet a bunch of other sims. This makes it so easy to do that, so I can highly recommend it. The next one is First Love, which I think is such an adorable and cute mod. It's again from Little Miss Sam, and it allows your kids to basically like have a crush and have a first love as they're a kid. And it's so cute because it just adds all of these like cute little fun interactions between kids. Whenever they become really good friends, they can get like a crush on each other. And I just feel like it's so realistic for your kids to have an experience like this. I don't have it for all of my kids, but sometimes it's just nice to have this incorporated in your story. Then the next one is doing laundry on community lots cost money. This is actually one that I downloaded when the For Rent pack came out, because I really like making like shared laundry spaces in an apartment building, for instance. But I feel like it didn't really make sense that your sims can just use all of the washing facilities for free. So now if you have a community lot, and I believe the For Rent lot, like if you have it as a I keep forgetting the name of that, like the units, if you have it as a rental unit, then this will also count as a community lot. But basically you can make a laundromat. You can make like a cafe that also has laundry in it, and as soon as you do your laundry there, you actually have to pay for it. And it's just one of those fun little small details which makes gameplay more realistic. And I really like to add stuff like this to my game because it kind of challenges me to get out of my comfort zone and do things a little bit different than I might be used to in the game. The next one is one of my favorite mods of all times. As you can see, I actually have a whole video on this, so whenever I've made a video on a specific mod, I will also link it in this page. And it is the First Impression mod by Lumpy New, because this is a simple and small mod, yet it changes your entire gameplay. It actually adds first impressions into the game using the sentiment system. And what happens is as soon as your sims meet, they will get a first impression of each other. This will be based off of their traits, off of their prior, like if they have friends in common, all of those things. Those impressions, you can either download a mod where the first impression will kind of like fade. And I have the version in my game where the first impression stays, because I think it is funny that it will like stay there forever. But it basically allows your sims to have a first sentiment towards someone. So when they meet someone, they can think, oh, that's a really arrogant person. And then when they get to know them, they will actually get other sentiments, but they'll never forget that when they met that person, they thought they were very arrogant. And I think it adds buffs and moodlets for your sims whenever they have a conversation with someone that they had a bad first impression of. And you actually have to work to correct that first impression, which I think adds a ton of fun gameplay and just, again, makes your game feel a little bit more realistic. It feels like it has a little bit more depth. Feel free to check out the entire video if this is something that interests you, but I can highly recommend adding this one to your game. The next one is actually the Milestone Expanded. Again, it's another mod from Lumpy New. I really like Lumpy New's mods because they're fantastic. I have a whole separate video on this as well. And this is a mod that adds more than 90 milestones to your game with the Growing Together pack. Was it Growing Together? I'm starting to doubt if milestones came with Growing Together now. I think so. But with milestones, there is actually like a bunch of milestones in the game by default, but there were so many more opportunities, especially for milestones across all of the different expansion packs. And Lumpy New went out and actually created over 90 new milestones that you can just add. Cool thing about this is that you'll just have so many more milestones in your game, which basically allows you to build this really elaborate kind of memory system for your sims. So every single time your sims experience something, they will get a milestone from it, and it'll allow you to kind of look back at their lives at a later point and see, oh, all of the things they've experienced, and I think that is really, really cute. Then another one, which is simply one of my favorite mods in the entire game, is the relationship and pregnancy overhaul from Lumpy New. It is an incredibly extensive mod that I think a lot of people used to download the Wonderful Whims instead of the Wicked Whims, because I know that one takes the game a little bit further than some would like to go, but the Wonderful Whims one still comes with like the attraction system and all of those things. However, I can highly recommend, if you're looking for something that overhauls the relationship system in The Sims, download this one. It is so good. It comes with an attraction system. It comes with a dating app. The whole mod is built up in modules, so you can actually select which ones you want in the game. So for instance, I always take out like the STD expansion or like addition to this mod because I don't like my Sims constantly getting diseases. I don't think it's fun for my gameplay, so I just take it out, and it's really easy to do that. There's really clear instructions on the website from Lumpy New, and it adds so many fun interactions. Your Sims can like cheat, and whenever they cheat, they can confess to something, and then like it adds this whole dynamic to your relationship and pregnancy experience in the game, and it is a wonderful mod, so I highly recommend it. The next one is remove Sims from conversations, and this is such a simple one. I think actually this should be also in the fix my game one, because I think it's stupid that we can't do this in game. But you know how when your Sim is trying to flirt with another Sim and then someone walks up and they just join the conversation and then they kind of ruin whatever you were trying to do? This happens especially if you're trying to meet Sims in public. This mod fixes that. It will literally allow you to right click on the Sim in like the little conversation bar that is at the like the middle top of your screen, and it will just remove them from the conversation. They'll just walk away after, and it will allow you to have conversations in peace. It is so nice, and it changed so much of my irritation in trying to like go out with my Sim in public and just letting my Sim have actual conversations. Another one is MC Command Center. I feel like MC Command Center is incredibly extensive, so there is no way that I can actually fully explain what this mod does, but it gives you a very like basic explanation. It gives you full control or almost full control over the game settings. So there is so much things that are tuned in the game's code to work a certain way, and with this mod you'll actually gain control over a lot of that. That's how MC Command Center started out. It was a better or easier way to use cheats in the game, but from that, Deaderpool has actually continued to build on this so much that it now allows you to do so many more things. Like there is literally too much that I cannot try to fit it in this video. I just realized that I do actually have a video on my 10 favorite MC Command Center settings. I need to add that to this list, so I'll make sure to do that right after recording this. So if you're actually checking out this page, I'll make sure to have linked my video, because I do have a video that like highlights 10 kind of hidden features that you might not have known about in MC Command Center that I think are really fun. A couple of examples for this is, for instance, having to pay child support whenever you have two Sims separate and they have a child together, that the other Sim that's not taking care of the child has to pay child support. And this is just one example. There is so many more, and I really, really like these. So please make sure to check out that video as well. And just in general, MC Command Center for me personally is almost one of those mods that I won't even consider playing the game if I don't have this in there. Another one is SimCity Loans. If you have watched the Pack Legacy Challenge, you might have seen me use this multiple times. It allows you to just take out a loan, and then you get this little booklet in your inventory which allows you to pay back your loan. It is a really easy way for your Sims to just get more money than they currently have. This is particularly useful if you want them to like move to a bigger house, but you don't have the money right now, but you also don't want to wait forever. And it allows you to pay like in different amount of terms. So you can go for like 12 terms, 20 terms, 36 terms, I believe. And then every single time you'll get like a pop-up in game that you shouldn't forget to pay your loan, and you have to pay it off. If you don't pay it off in time, you'll actually pay interest, and that is it. The mod doesn't add like any complicated bank systems, because I know that there's also mods out there that add like a full banking system to your game. That personally to me is a little bit too much and a little too much overwhelming. But with this one, it is such a simple mod. It is really easy to use. You just click on your computer and you can take out a loan, and it does exactly what I needed it for, namely having more money to buy a new house for my Sims. Then another one that I've also made a video on is the searchable pie menu from Twisted Mexi. I have heard from some people that this mod makes their game lag quite a lot, so feel free to just like kind of download it, put it in your game and see if it works. For me, it works quite well still, so I very much like to have this. I have a whole separate video that goes in depth to show how this mod works, but it literally does what it says. It allows you to search the pie menu, which is great because we have so many interactions in this game that it can be really, really, really hard to remember where all of the interactions are. And with this, you can just search for it, and it speeds up your gameplay so much. It makes it a lot easier to complete aspirations, to complete careers, because you can just find what you're looking for and you don't waste like your gameplay time on trying trying to navigate the social menu. Another one that is quite famous in the modder community is UI cheats extension. If you don't have this mod, what are you doing? Like, I know it breaks with a lot of updates, but it is so worth getting it, and Werebazoo actually updates it like within a couple of hours every single time it breaks, so there is no way not to get it. But if you don't know what it does, it literally allows you to click in the UI of the game to cheat things. You can cheat their needs, you can cheat the weather, you can cheat the time, you can cheat their money, you can cheat holiday traditions ticking off. There is almost nothing that you cannot cheat in the game with having UI cheats extension. I really love to use this to like cheat mootlets sometimes. You might have seen me do this in my gameplay on either Twitch or YouTube, where you know how sometimes your sim gets sad because someone that they like met once in a coffee shop actually died? I'll just cheat away the mood. I don't think it's realistic that you'll be sad for a week over someone that you literally only met once. So I'll let them be sad for like a second, and then I'll click it away and be like, okay, you know, they mourned for that person for a second and they moved on with their life. So this mod really allows me to just like speed up my gameplay and allow me to tell my stories the way I want without the game literally blocking me from doing that. Because if your sims are experiencing extreme emotions, they just won't do something. So this mod is a must-have. I literally don't play the game when this one is broken. Another one that I added actually today, because I was talking about it in the recording of my Pack Legacy challenge, is the unlimited jobs mod. I used to have it in my game, but then for some reason I removed it. I think it was when I moved from my old computer to my new computer. But unlimited jobs allows you to literally have multiple jobs. This is great if you want to be a freelancer next to having a paid job as your sim. Like, it can lead to a situation where your sim has multiple jobs that conflict in schedule. So keep that in mind. It kind of places the responsibility to find a working schedule for your sim in your hands rather than in the game's. But it is really nice if you want to have your sim have like multiple gigs at the same time. It is also great for storytelling, and I'm going to use it for my teenager to be in scouts and the football club at the same time, for instance. Then we have Sociable Sims by Plumlace. I actually recently discovered Plumlace mods, and they are so good. So I highly recommend checking out their entire mod website. I don't have all of their mods, but I have a couple of them. But there are so many more on her website, so please make sure to check it out. But this one actually adds a bunch of more social interactions, which are, I don't know, they just make more sense than some of the default ones we have in game. Like, I don't necessarily want to complain about the hot weather, but I do like to talk about my personal growth journey. So they're just like a little bit more in depth. They also give your sim some moodlets from like discussing certain topics with their friends or with their parents. And it is just a really nice mod that if you've played the game for a long time and you're kind of fed up with the default interactions we have, this one is definitely a must-have. Another one is Precious Moments. The only downside to this mod is that it actually shows up for all age groups. So even if your sim doesn't have a toddler, they will still be able to teach someone to count to 10, which actually I think is kind of funny, but I can see why that would put you off of downloading this mod. But it basically adds a bunch of cute interactions with your toddlers and your infants, where you can teach them animals, where you can teach them like to count to 10, but without having to do the annoying like counting cards. So it's more just focused on the social interaction between you and your kid. So it's perfect for storytelling. Then another one by Plumlace is called Immersive Social Bunny, which actually adds a lot of depth to Social Bunny, because Social Bunny on its own is a great feature, but it's not very well executed. Like, Social Bunny could have been so much more, and Immersive Social Bunny actually allows your sim to post about a bunch more things that happen in their lives, so actually things that matter. It also adds a bunch of different narratives that you can post about. It just, in general, it gives a bit of life. Like, in the back of the game, it automates certain things, so instead of you always having to forcefully open Social Bunny to at least use the feature, you will now sometimes also get a notification of something happening on your Social Bunny, or like someone else posting on Social Bunny and you getting a notification from it. So it just makes it feel more alive and like more part of your gameplay. This is actually the mod that led me to Plumlace, and ever since I've been obsessed with their mods, so feel free to check it out. And then the last one on the gameplay mods page that I currently have in my game is FlowFit. FlowFit actually adds a bunch of extra fitness equipments to your game. So it's, I kind of doubt whether it's more CC or more mods, because technically it adds the object, but it also adds all of the interactions that your sim can have with this object. And it also added a bunch of new animations, so that's why I kind of placed it in the mod selection. But it adds like an elliptical, it adds a rowing machine. There's like a bunch more interactions that your sim can have if you have this mod in your game. It's really nice if you've used the standard fitness equipment things in the game so many times that they get a little bit boring, and this will allow you to build a more diverse gym than the ones that we have by default in game. Then the next category is a lot shorter than the gameplay one, simply because for building you need less mods, and the mods that are out there are just horrendously extensive. So we're gonna start with my favorite mod of all all time. I will never stop raving about how great this mod is, and it's the Better Build By mod from Rosannatxt. I actually got this mod originally because it sorts all of the debug items into the right categories, which already on its own is enough reason to download this mod. Like, it will literally sort all of the debug items from every pack into the right category, which makes it that you can finally use debug in like a comfortable way without having to scroll through endless lists and having to use like a million cheats to find it, because it also allows you to turn on and off all of the filters or like the debug cheats just by using the filters in game, which makes it so much easier to use. There's another reason why I cannot play without this mod. It simply allows you to turn off your custom content. So if you don't want to take your CC out, but you want to do a CC free build, you can just turn it off. And it will literally hide it for you. And it makes such a difference in building experience. And it makes it so easy to have CC in your game without having to constantly think about whether you want it on or off. Then there is a ton more features in Better Build By. It actually like works together with the tool mod. So if you have Better Build By in your game, you'll be able to use tool in build mode. There, you can actually change the light color. I can go on and on and on and on about how many great things there are in Better Build By. I do have a whole separate video on it. It is a little bit older, so there are actually more features even in Better Build By at this point than I showcase in the video. But if you want a little bit more of an in-depth video on this mod, feel free to check out my video for that one too. But this one, if you're a builder in The Sims, I cannot live without it. I always recommend it to everyone. There's a lot of people in my streams who never had any mods who actually got into modding The Sims by downloading Better Build By because they loved it so much. So highly recommend checking it out. Another fantastic mod that if you have been building in The Sims, you might have heard of this, is Tool by Rosannatxt. Tool is a little bit more complicated, so I feel like if you're just a casual simmer, Tool might not be what you're looking for. I'll try to like make sure to link a video here of one of my friends that has a fantastic tutorial on Tool, because Tool can be a bit overwhelming when you start with it, but it basically gives you, as I would say, infinite freedom, or like infinite creative freedom when you're building in The Sims. And I mostly got this mod so that I can just more precisely size up and size down my rugs, because I don't like that they're either really small or really big, and I want to have a bit more control over that. But Tool can do so much more, and the magic that I've seen people do with building with Tool is actually wild. So I'll make sure to add a video in here as well from a friend who did this fantastic tutorial. So if you're like interested in getting to know Tool, you'll have a little bit of information in here as well. But it is one of those mods that if you're a person who mainly plays The Sims to build, you're gonna get this one at one point. Then again, MC Command Center also shows up here for the simple reason that there are a couple of cheats like BB Move Objects that you can have turned on by default if you have MC Command Center. So even if you never do gameplay, it is still really nice to get MC Command Center, because it simply just allows you to get rid of a lot of tedious work when you want to get into building. So that's why it's also in this category. And the same goes for UI Cheats extension. If you're building and you want to get like good screenshots, so you want to change the weather in game and stuff, honestly, these two are just convenience mods when it comes to building, but they don't specifically add any like features to building in The Sims. Then the next category is my visual mods, so anything that makes my game look the way that it does. I get a lot of questions about the first one whenever I'm streaming and I travel with my Sims, but I actually have a world map replacement. I just realized, again, I have a video about this, so I'll make sure to link it in here as well, because I have a whole video about how this works and how to get these world maps in your game. They basically replace the image that you use whenever you're traveling with your Sims, and this person made this beautiful world map art that just looks so much better than the default one. So that's one of the visual mods that I use. The other one is the reshade preset. Keep in mind, you can only use this if you are actually using reshader. So these mods go together. So this is actually the mod that does all the work. This is the mod that allows you to change the colors and the lighting and the contrast in your game. And then the Dove reshade is like a preset that someone made of all of these settings. This one is made by Kindle Spice, and Kindle Spice has an amazing video herself on how to install this. So I've also linked this over here. This is actually the mod I think that does most of the heavy lifting in terms of how my game looks, because it makes everything look so much lighter and brighter and softer, and it just makes your game feel warmer and more alive compared to the default like look and feel of The Sims. Tutorial from Kindle Spice is the best one out there. She also explains how to install reshade to begin with. So if you want to get this preset, make sure to install Reshader and make sure to follow their tutorial because it has everything you need to know. Another one is neutral lighting in cast, which actually makes sure that the lighting in cast looks a bit better, so you can just simply see your Sims better in cast. I never realized that I needed this until I put it in my game and I was like, oh wow, cast is like well lit. And now every single time I see someone in cast without it, it looks so dim and gray. So this is just one, it's a small mod, but it makes a huge difference. The old school cast one is also one that I get a lot of questions about. It might be a little bit easier to see it like this, but I have a cast background. I actually currently don't have this in my game. I should change this. I have another one, but I should link that here as well. See, this is good that I'm making this video because it's also reminding me that I need to update certain things in this list. You can basically replace the background that your Sims have in cast, and the default one is really boring in The Sims 4. You can actually download all kinds of really cute cast backgrounds, and it just makes it more enjoyable to be in cast and to like give your Sims a makeover. So I'll make sure to link my current one in here as well, but I'll leave this one because it's no longer in my game, but I did used to have it for like the longest of times, and it is a really pretty one, so I'll leave it in here as well. Then one that I do still have in my game is my custom loading screens. For those of you that have ever watched my streams or my videos, you'll probably recognize this. I get asked about this all the time, and I remember putting this in my game and just feeling like I would never switch loading screens again because it's so pretty, it is so simple, but it just makes your game look really cozy. The creator actually made 3 different versions of the same loading screen with like different color schemes. If you go to their Patreon, you will actually be able to download all of them completely for free. Another one that I have to visually change my game is the Lumia lighting mod, which actually again makes your game look lighter, brighter, warmer. You can see the difference here. There's like no better way for me to explain what it does than just to show you these pictures next to each other. It just makes your game like less glowy and less blue, if that makes any sense. And I genuinely think it makes the game look a lot better. Even if your game cannot or if your computer cannot run Reshader because it's a game with like lower specs, but you still want your game to look good, mods like this will make a huge difference without changing the performance of your Sims. Then another one that I have that also makes a big difference, and I actually got this one like a couple of weeks ago only, I don't think I can ever go back, is the Sunblind outdoor lighting override. Do keep in mind, if you want to install this one, there is a fantastic instruction from the creator on their website, but you have to go into game files. It's not like installing a normal mod that you can just drag and drop it in your mods folder, but it changes the default lighting in the game itself. Like you have to go into your game files in your computer and replace the lighting files. I was really scared of doing this for the longest of times, but after doing it a couple of times, it turned out to be really easy. I actually showed it on stream and a lot of people were surprised with how easy it was to install this. It's just a tedious task, but it's not difficult, but it is so pretty and my game looks beautiful now. So I highly recommend getting it. Also, again, if you cannot run Reshader, stuff like this could actually help you a lot because it literally just replaces the lighting files in the game. So your game shouldn't be harder to run after because it just changes the default values rather than trying to run an overlay over your game that changes everything. Another one which is very similar to the earlier lighting mods that I showcased is the Out of the Dark, which basically makes indoor spaces look better. So you know, in The Sims, when like a light is turned off, you can kind of see it up here. Things become very dark and bluish, whereas in IRL spaces, you would probably have a little bit softer lighting because the light in the room next door is actually on. So this kind of just makes indoor lighting feel a little bit more natural and a little bit more smooth. I didn't expect this one to make a big difference, but it kind of does, and I enjoy my gameplay a lot more since I got this one. And then lastly is another loading screen that I no longer have in my game, but is actually really fun. Someone combined all of the Sims worlds into one really big map, and you can download it as a loading screen for your Sims. So if you want to get something that showcases like the entire Sims universe, this one is a really fun one. The download link is in here. I no longer have it in my game, but I do know that a lot of people really love this one. Then we get to the add-on category, which is basically, like I explained earlier in the video, all of the mods that add something to something we already have in game. I hope that makes sense. But the first one is the custom mood pack from Lampinu, which actually adds a whole lot of moodlets to your game, like moodlets that we don't have by default. The reason I have this one is for the first impressions mod, but also for a bunch of other Lampinu mods. You actually need this custom mood pack for the mod to work correctly. This as a standalone standalone mod doesn't do too much. So if you get this one and you just add it to your game, you're probably never going to see all the extra moods. But if you download other mods that require this mood pack, because Lumpy New actually publicly made it available, so a lot of other modders also have used this, you all of a sudden have a bunch more moodlets for your Sims to get, and it's really fun. It kind of makes the variety of emotions of your Sim a lot bigger. Then one that I have a video about, that's why it's called All My Custom Careers, is I actually have a lot of custom careers in my game, over 250 to be precise, and they are all made by a bunch of different creators. So I have a full video on all of the custom careers I have in my game and what they do and who they were made by. So I can highly recommend checking out this separate video if you're looking for more careers in the game. I have a link to the YouTube video, and actually the download links to everything are on this page as well. So if you watch this video and you're curious and you're like, oh, I actually would like to download any of these careers, I do have them linked in this card. Then more holiday icons is a very simple one, but it just does what it says. It adds a bunch more holiday icons, allowing you to customize your Sims calendar with cute icons that actually represent the holiday that you're trying to celebrate, because the default ones in game are quite limited. Then a school holiday tradition is actually a very simple one. It basically allows you to add or to have a school holiday without any traditions. So you can just have a school holiday. So your Sims can just have a day off without having to do any holiday traditions. Your Sim can just be free, and that's the tradition. Because by default, your holidays need to have traditions, and that's kind of annoying. But this way you can just schedule empty holidays, which will just give your Sims a day off, which I think is nice if you want to give your Sims a summer break or something. Then another one where I have a whole bunch of, where there's multiple creators, are all my custom traits. I have a bunch more traits in my game. I again made a whole video about this. Also includes the more traits mod, which allows you to actually add more traits to your Sim than just, instead of just 3, it'll allows you to add 5. And then I have a bunch of trait packs that will just add more and more and more traits to your game. I have a whole separate video about it, so if that's something you would like to check out, these add so many more, and it will actually diversify your gameplay a lot. The more trait slot mod, like I said, is mentioned in this video, so it basically is already covered there. Multiple cast columns does what it says. It allows you to have more than 2 columns in cast. I cannot go without this mod because cast just looks weird with 2 columns at this point. There is actually different varieties. You can have 3, 4, or 5 depending on what kind of device you play on or how big your screen is. I would suggest figuring out which one fits them up the best. I remember when I used to play on a MacBook, it was much better to have the 3. Now I have the 4. I feel like the 5 is like awkwardly wide, but that's a personal preference, so feel free to check it out. Make sure that you only download one of these files depending on like how many columns you want. That's the file you need to download. Then poses is something that I use a lot in my Let's Plays to get like cute pictures of my Sims to hang up on the walls or just to save in my personal screenshots folder. I have a whole separate video that doesn't only include my favorite poses and the general pose mod, but it also includes like a full-on instruction on how to use poses in The Sims. But actually all of the mods and all of the poses that I have in my game are linked in this card as well. So feel free to check it out. Feel free to check out the video if you're curious to learn how to use them. But all of the information is in here. Then one that I recently got because someone in my Twitch chat actually tipped it to me is the universal hair overlay mod. The only thing it does, it adds an overlay in cast over your Sims' hair, allowing you to change any existing hair in the game, and with that I also mean CC, into any color that you want. This is perfect for people playing the Not So Berry challenge. If you're trying to get that right hair color for your Sims, we don't have any purple hairs in the game. That's why I got it for my plum generation. It is so good and so easy to use. So I highly, highly recommend getting this one just for anyone who does gameplay, by the way. And then cast poses. Again, I have a whole separate video on it, but you can actually use poses in cast, which is really nice to take simple screenshot to make lookbooks for your Sims. And it allows you to take cute pictures without having to like go through the extensive pose mod. The video explains how to use it and where to find them, but everything is linked in this card as well if you want it. And then we get to the last category, which is a long one, and I wish that it wasn't because it's the fix my game mod, and I don't think we should have this many mods to fix a game, but unfortunately here we are. So these are all the mods that I have in my game to simply fix annoyances or things that are actually broken in the game. The first one is faster eating and drinking. I think it's ridiculous how slow Sims eat and drink, and this just speeds up the process. process, and it makes the game playable instead of your Sims taking 3 hours to eat a sandwich. Quick shower and bath, exactly the same story as the faster eating and drinking. It just allows your Sims to literally take a quick bath and a quick shower. So they will take like 30 minutes for a shower, or like 15 to 30 minutes for a shower, and maybe like an hour or two for a bath instead of their entire day, which just, I cannot play without these two anymore because everything in the game is so slow otherwise. Choose leftovers is one of my favorite mods because if you have multiple dishes in your Sims fridge, your Sims will literally just get something if you say get leftovers. If you have the choose leftover mod, it will actually open a little pop-up menu which allows you to pick whatever they're gonna eat. So no longer will your Sims have mac and cheese for breakfast unless you tell them to. They can also just have eggs on toast if you have that on the fridge as well. Photos in storage is actually one that doesn't always work, so this is one that you should download at your own risk. But by default, if you put a photo in a storage item in the Sims, so we have like storage chests and stuff, they will break, but they'll just turn black. And with this mod, that is supposed to fix it. However, I've noticed if you keep them in the storage for too long, or if you move the storage box while the pictures are in there, they can still break. So keep that in mind, but it does fix part of the problem, I would say. Then we have more Plopsy objects. Again, this is one of those things where we get a feature and then it doesn't really get built out extensively. So we have a whole bunch of things in the game that you cannot sell on Plopsy, even though it would make a lot of sense if you could. And Little Miss Sam fixed that, allowing us to sell almost all arts and crafts products in The Sims on Etsy or like Plopsy. And it's really nice. So that just fixes the Plopsy system. Sleep all night does what it says. It makes sure that your Sims don't wake up in the middle of the night unless there's music playing or like a dog barking or anything. But if there is no like actual in-game incentive for your Sims to wake up, they will sleep until 6 in the morning. Even if their energy bar is already full, your Sims will still sleep until 6 in the morning. You always have the power to wake them up, but they won't wake up independently, which just is nice because it's annoying when your Sims constantly wake up. School projects are fun. Basically changes like value that school projects will actually decrease your kids' fun, and now it will actually add to your Sims' fun, because I could see as a kid it would be a lot of fun to work on a school project over your homework. So it's just nice. It adds a bit of their fun. It makes gameplay a little bit more realistic. Ultra Simulation Speed Up is one of those mods that is just a convenience. You know how when your Sims go to sleep, the time goes like really fast? This will basically allow you to make the time go really fast at any given point in your game. So if you press 3, it will automatically go to 3 speed. If you press 3 again on your keyboard, it will go to super fast speed. And then if you press 3 again, it will go back to the normal 3, and you can kind of like toggle between those two. And it is really nice for whenever there's like a Sim visiting on your lot, but all of your Sims are actually asleep and you just want to speed up the night because you don't want to wait for Santa to leave or something. Then this is one that is so nice. It does sometimes cause a little bit of lag if you constantly speed up the game on 3 speed, because the game was simply not designed to run on that super fast speed all the time. So keep that in mind. But for me, it fixes itself within a couple of seconds after I disable it. So it is a really nice one to have in your game because it just allows you to not wait for your Sims all the time. Then subject homework. Again, I've already talked about this, but it's also a fix my game mod as well as a gameplay mod, so I'm not gonna repeat it. Small invite to hang out overhaul basically just allows you to invite more Sims to come hang out. Usually when you want to have a Sim come hang out, you have to know them pretty well. Like it says, you can't do that if you've never met them. This overhaul actually allows you to invite basically any Sim that lives in your save file. So you can also invite over your new boyfriend's mother, even if you've never met her. Sleep in kind of adds to the sleep all night mod. So basically your Sims and mostly your children and teens will sleep in whenever they don't have to go to school, or whenever they have a free day, which just makes sense because I'm not sure about you, but when I was a kid, especially a teen, I loved sleeping in. So it's just nice that that's a feature in the game. Then more camera controls. It actually adds a camera that I'm not really sure if this is a mod or CC again, because it adds an item, which is a specific camera that your Sims can take pictures with without having an active Sim to control it. So let's say that you have a bunch of Sims that are posing for a picture, or they're like sitting at the dinner table together and you would like to take a picture of it. You don't have to have an active Sim control the camera. You as a person who's playing the game can control the camera, which is just really nice because it makes it easier to take in-game photos. Slower infant need decay is one that I got like a day after Growing Together came out, because infants are needy, and I know they are needy in real life, so it is kind of realistic, but they were wildly needy in The Sims. Like their needs went down so fast that this mod just helps in that. It makes them less tired less quickly. It makes them like their bladder stays up for a bit longer. It just makes it feel like you can actually manage your infants instead of want to throw them out of the window. First love, we already talked about this, so this is a really cute one, but I've already mentioned it. Then homework tweak actually speeds up the process of how long it takes for your kids to do homework. Again, I think it is realistic that it takes your kid like an hour to 2 hours to do their homework, but it's not very realistic that it takes your kids like 5 hours to do homework. So it just allows you to basically do it faster than the default in the game. Parenting skill, we've already talked about that one as well. Then school projects are fun. We've already talked about that one as well. I just realized it's actually on the list twice. See? I need to go through my list, but I'll make sure to leave one of them on here. Then free will delay. This is one that I actually added quite recently to my game. And this is one that you have to get if it is the way you want to play the game. So it fixes an annoyance for me, but it could be that you don't actually want this. So in The Sims 2, you could get a kind of like a free will delay instead of having full autonomy. So you know how when you turn autonomy on in The Sims and you tell your Sims to go shower, they can still decide not to shower and do something else. What this mod basically does is it will give your Sim a delay of their free will. So if you give them an action after ... amount of time, they will get their free will or their autonomy back. And I think I have one that is like 15 or 30 minutes in game. So if I tell my Sim to go shower, to go eat, as long as I am giving them actions, they don't have any free will basically. But if I don't do anything in game with them for 10 or 15 minutes in game, then they will start doing things themselves. This is such a huge game changer if you're a person who tends to play with really big families where your Sims just constantly ignore what you tell them to do because they get distracted, or the game tuning lets them check on a child or like check on a toddler every single time you try to tell them to go shower. This actually will fix that. The only downside is that if you're not actively playing with that Sim, they might stand around like idle for about 15 to 30 minutes depending on how much you pick, because you actually have to download a version of how many minutes you want the delay to be in game. They will just do nothing. They'll wait for you to tell what to do. And as soon as you give them an action, even if you cancel it, it will need to tick to the 30 minutes in game before they will start doing things of their own again. But for me, it fixes something because I was getting wildly frustrated with my Sims not listening to me. But if you actually like the chaos of your Sims just doing things on their own, then I would say maybe this is not the mod for you. The next one is know your classmates and coworkers. Again, this fixes something that I just think is stupid in the game. So whenever your kids go to school or whenever your Sims go to work, they never meet anyone. They'll go to work for like days on end and they will know zero of their coworkers. This basically fixes that. So the game will just give you pop-ups of like, oh, Cassandra met this person at work, or Jamie met this person in school, and it will add them to your friends list, and it will basically just populate with random Sims in a similar age group. And it's just nice because that way, if you ever want to tell a story where someone met at work or like someone met at school, you actually have Sims ready to go in your Sim social panel that they met through those activities. Then release all the ghosts is one that I also recently got because I had a very frustrating issue where one of my Sims in a household that I wasn't playing with anymore actually died while they were off lot, and there's no gravestone then. Literally, there's just no gravestone in the game for that Sim, but I wanted to get a little family graveyard, so I would very much wanted to get a gravestone for my founder Sim. This actually allows you to do that through the social menu of your Sims. It will allow you to actually get a gravestone for any Sim that has passed, which is just really nice. It also allows you to do like a bunch more things with ghosts in the game, but I mainly got it for that part where you can actually get your gravestone of a Sim that died somewhere in the world and there's no gravestone generated. Then infant care tweaks is also one that I cannot live without, because you know how I said earlier that your Sim will constantly check on infant? Like every single second, one of your Sims will get distracted by whatever they were doing because it says check on infant. This mod fixes that. This mod actually changes that tuning from, I believe in game by default, it is set to 5 minutes. So every 5 minutes, your Sim will check on infant. This changes that to like every hour or something, which makes so much more sense in gameplay because your Sim will not be distracted every single second with trying to check on an infant. And then the last one that I currently have in my game for the Fix My Game mods is the simulation lag fix. So you know, whenever your Sims, sometimes they're like eating, but they're just standing there with their plate and they don't actually eat. They don't do anything. They're just standing there. That is a simulation lag. For some reason, something in the animation got like lagged and your Sim is just kind of waiting for a certain animation time period to pass before they can start their next animation, which is eating their food. This is really annoying, especially again, if you're playing with multiple Sims and you tell a Sim to go eat and then like an hour later in gameplay, you find out that they've been doing just nothing. Usually you have to reset your Sim, then you have to give them the action all over again, and it's just annoying. But actually this simulation lag fix fixes that and makes your game run a whole lot smoother, and it makes sure that your Sims get stuck in simulation lag loops like a lot less often. It still happens from time to time, but it's definitely not as bad. This especially happens, like I said, when you're on 3 speed. So if you have the ultra simulation speed up one, those simulation lags actually get worse. Therefore, if you do think about downloading the ultra simulation speed up, make sure to also get the simulation lag fix because they go together very well. They kind of help each other out. And then I have a bunch of mods that are in here that I no longer use in my game right now, but feel free to just check them out on your own accord and kind of like click on it and see whatever they do. Maybe it's something that you fancy. And if you don't like the categories, but you just want to see it in like one big table so you can just scroll through all of the mods that I have, you can also do that. Just kind of see like the entire mod overview in one big table. Again, like I mentioned, this is all linked on my website in the description box down below. So feel free to go check it out. I would love to hear which mod you want to go download right away. And also if you have any mods that you have in your game that you didn't see on my list, but you would recommend me because you think they're great, feel free to pop them in the comments down below because as you might see, I love modding my game, so finding more mods is always welcome. If you like this video, please toss it a cheeky like. If you're not subscribed to my channel, I basically do anything related to The Sims, from speed builds to gameplay to videos like this to full-on building tutorials. So feel free to go check out my channel. And if you like what you see, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and notification bell so you don't miss any of my future videos. And with all of that out of the way, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you on the next one. Bye, everyone!